In everyday life, we all have a sixth sense. Some of us are masters of it, others don't know it exists. The clues are in our actions. You'll be amazed what you can discover about other people. You'll be shocked to find out what you're giving away. I call these clues tells, a term used by poker players. It refers to the unintentional actions that reveal what kind of hand their opponents might be holding. They can also help you to understand friendship, power, love and sex. From the moment you meet to the day you marry, this program explains the tells that show who will make a good mate and who won't. It'll also help you to understand other people's marriages, to see if someone really means it when they say, I do. Or are they telling the truth when they say, I didn't? Without the language of tells, there would be no flirting, and sex as we know it would cease to exist. Imagine what it would be like to be a fly on the wall for a whole evening when men and women are busy sizing each other up. You could study all the unspoken exchanges between them, every nervous glance, every flirtatious gesture, every tell they needed to exchange for a love affair to get started. That's exactly what I'll be doing tonight. I'm hosting a unique party. It could be any bar, any club, any Saturday night, but it's not. We've invited 15 single men and 15 single women, and we've set up cameras in every corner of the room. We'll be watching out for all the little telltale signs they send to people they fancy and the people they don't. I'm going to scrutinize what happens between my 30 guests over the next 4 hours. Being in a bar may never feel the same again. Welcome to the Love Lab.
A little bit of grooving, moving, see what happens.
I got on with him really well.
Well, she's not the most friendly.
Not more.
I don't normally use chat-up lines and things like that because it doesn't really work.
Did you do anything to encourage it?
No.
But I have actually got a chat-up line book.
It's always the way, isn't it, though? You know, he'd probably be a friend.
Yeah, we've got on very well. We seem to be at the same sort of level.
Beggars can't be choosers, really, you know what I mean?
The female guests have been asked to arrive early and are getting to know each other. How will the behavior of the women change when the men enter the room? As the men start to arrive, we see them flicking their hair. The hair flick is a classic example of preening. Preening helps a girl in several ways. First, she's showing her crowning glory, a soft, bouncy, youthful feature she's proud of. Then she's telling the man she's noticed him. She's saying, look at my hair and look at me. Among women, preening is not only common, it's contagious. 3 of the 4 girls in this group preen themselves by flicking their hair. 1, 2, 3. It's like a Mexican wave. In a competitive environment, all the girls want to make sure that they're looking their best. Men like to think that they do all the running and that they make the first move. But watch how it's actually the women who initiate things. Okay, now let's just see if we can track this one. Let's slow time down and study in detail what happens when Richard arrives at the party. From the moment that Kate spots Richard, she doesn't stop staring. He notices this and looks back at her. Kate's friend Sarah also turns and looks at Richard and flicks her hair appreciatively. These glances take less than a second, but this moment may change their evening. It could even change their lives. Courtship is almost always a matter of female choice, and in a bar, it's the woman who invariably makes the first move. She does this by producing an approach tell. Anton and Marius move towards a group of girls. They're waiting for an approach tell. Jasmine on the left spots them standing alone. She stares at them and gives them a smile. This is an approach tell. It says to the guys, "You may approach me now." Yvonne turns to see the guys and also smiles, sending the same signal. Without an approach tell, you may as well not be there. One of these men is part of the group, the other isn't, but wishes he were. He steps forward, tries to be physically involved, but to no avail. Even when he's left alone with the girls, a perfect opportunity to move in, he stands there expectantly, watching them, patiently waiting for an inviting signal from one of them. But it never comes. Without an approach tell from one of the girls, there's very little he can do to be accepted. So he carries on, looking slightly lost and waiting. Kate and Sarah are still talking to Richard. It's evident that they both like him, but it's difficult because they're close friends. Look how they use their hair, their mouth and their eyes to keep Richard's attention. Kate raises her shoulder, fixes her eyes on Richard and smiles. This is a coquettish gesture and it's designed to grab his attention. As soon as Kate becomes flirtatious, Sarah averts her eyes and withdraws. When Kate realizes that her friend has withdrawn, she points at Sarah, involving her once again. There are other subtle signs of friendly competition between the two girls. Sarah exposes her neck. This is a submissive, flirtatious gesture because it presents a very vulnerable part of the body. It says, "Look, I'm not a threat. I trust you not to harm me." Kate goes to the bar, and as she passes Richard, she discreetly pats him on the bum. This is definitely a provocative gesture. It's below the belt, and it's very early in the encounter. It says to Richard, "Don't forget me, I'll be back." We can see that Kate has managed to arouse Richard, because while she's away, he's constantly looking out for her.
You move over. That's it.
Beverly and John have been chatting to each other for ages. They're oriented towards each other, ignoring everything and everyone else.
How do we know whether he's equally committed to her? Well, let's just look at his feet. There you are, legs crossed. That's a very important tell. It tells us, but not necessarily him or her, that he's entirely committed to that conversation. He has absolutely no intention of moving on.
Sarah has also crossed her legs. She too has no intention of leaving. Richard is still looking around. He's missing Kate. Now it's Sarah's chance to make a move.
One of the things you'll find is that women often preen themselves when they've lost the attention of the guys they've been talking to.
Watch how she uses her hair, her mouth and her eyes. Sarah preens the right side of her body, almost as if she's trying to draw Richard away from the center of the room, where Kate is to be found. She becomes more animated in an attempt to hold his attention. Now she deploys her killer tell, the eye pop. She closes her eyes and then opens them, pop, fixing him with a loving stare. This seems to be working because Richard is much more engaged in the conversation. But Sarah's not entirely at ease because she keeps glancing to her left, keeping a lookout for Kate. She sees that Kate is busy elsewhere, so she produces a barrage of flirtatious tells. There's a little head cant, then there's an eye pop, followed by an exaggerated look of incredulity. After that, she raises her eyebrows, flicks her hair and produces an emphatic grimace. But has the barrage of tells worked? When Kate returns, she picks up where she left off. Sarah doesn't continue to make a play for Richard because she looks away and detaches herself. Beverly and John are still talking, but her feet show that the mood has changed. John's legs are still crossed. He's quite happy, but Beverly's right foot is pointing into the crowd. It's an unconscious intention movement.
The chemistry is not working at the moment. She's obviously looking for something better.
She wants to move on. Her facial expressions are now much more controlled, and when she gets a chance, she looks away. John is now using much more exaggerated hand movements, trying to keep their conversation alive, but it's a losing battle. He cracks a joke, and they part company. Looking lost and tense, he takes a swig, looks at his watch, and then releases the tension. Anton is bored and looking round the room. Now it's his turn to move on, and he knows exactly where he's going. Kate is the target. He shakes only her hand and secures a hug. Kate turns her body towards Richard and Sarah when she puts her arm around Anton. She's reducing the intimacy of the hug and showing the others what she's doing. She's making it look friendly and nothing more. She pats Anton on the back just before the two of them let go. Pats like these pretend to be a gesture of affection, but they're not. They are a release signal. They tell the other person that it's time to let go. Richard, Kate and Sarah have spent a lot of time together. The tells show that Richard is interested in Kate. They also reveal that Richard regards Anton's arrival as a serious threat. Although Richard is doing his best to hide his feelings, he's giving off distress signals. There's a distinct lack of expression. See how he runs his tongue over his teeth. They are his primitive weapons. It's a disguised signal of aggression. When he shakes hands with Anton, Richard tries to appear relaxed.
He's smiling furiously, but it's a completely fake smile. He's deeply unhappy.
One tell really gives away his discomfort. His chin is pulled back. This is the chin tuck. It's what we do when we are feeling threatened. We react as if someone is about to punch us metaphorically on the chin. To make matters worse, Marius arrives. Despite Richard's insecurity, the physical arrangement of the group is revealing. The two girls have lined up beside Richard. They're showing their allegiance to him. But this doesn't stop them sending flirtatious signals to Anton and Marius. Women flirt with men even when they are not sexually interested in them. That's partly because, for lots of girls, flirting is like good manners. It's something you do even though you don't mean it.
Any regrets?
Kate's nice. Kate's very nice.
Did he flirt with you?
No.
Did he fancy you?
No.
Did you flirt with him in any way?
No. I know you might think I do,
But why would I think you did? What did you do?
I'm just smiley and nice to people. I think that maybe that might be misinterpreted as being flirtatious.
Men are notoriously poor at decoding women's signals. But if they're always receiving seemingly positive feedback, no wonder they're so confused.